YouTube and transitioning over to Allie, Annie, Fraser, some of my favorite humans.
Space. What's the plan, guys?
Talk about space exploration and video games.
We're going to nerd out about video games, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean,
Oh
I know it's
my.
so much.
I can't hear them.
Oh, nobody
what?
can hear us.
Switch.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Can you hear us
I
now?
can't hear them. Now I can hear you.
You can hear us.
You can hear
okay.
us? You promise?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And
I
chat
guess
can
the
hear all of
stream
us.
can hear all of us.
Well, that's good. That's
Right.
new. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is new.
I'm sorry. I'm not used to being on this side of the camera, so it's an adjustment.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Stepped out of the
Well,
production
it's good
booth.
practice. You understand all of the, both sides of this situation.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And all sides have their challenges. So yes, we're
Well,
gonna nerd
I mean,
out
the tricky
about
part is
video
you can hear when Pamela is trying to both engineer and trying to fill space.
games.
It's like
Oh, yeah.
two parts of your brain which are not meant to do this at the same time.
No. And then earlier, like, she's trying to talk while I'm, like, literally sticking my face between two monitors, like the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park. Like, something's wrong with the audio.
Yeah. I think like maybe on the 100th year that we will have finally worked out all of our audio issues, all of our video issues. We will be able to make a smooth stream go from beginning to end without technology failing us, without the internet failing us.
I feel like the day that happens, just there's going to be like a rift in the space-time continuum, and just like the universe as we know it is just going to like completely invert,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about? Space games? Is that the plan?
Space games.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
'cause I-
saw that No Man's Sky was on the thing. I didn't know you played No Man's Sky.
I do.
I saw
yeah.
your ship earlier and I was like, that's a really fancy ship. I don't have a very fancy ship.
Some poor Gek trader had it on the space station, and I came up to him and I just started throwing money at him until he gave me his ship, and then it became my ship. It's an S-class ship with a solar sail, and so it just doesn't need any fuel.
Oh, cool.
I love it.
What?
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
one of those.
You so you find them more often if you go to pirate systems where like things are a little rarer, and you have a better chance of getting some of the weirder exotic ships if you go to the pirate systems. So you just hang out in the one of the pirate space stations, and eventually an S-class ship will show up, and
Pirates
sometimes
don't
it's one of those.
me. I
Very
hunt them
cool.
a lot.
Well, this sounds like a problem.
I know.
So
They attack me, so I attack back.
So, for those of us who have never played No Man's Sky but would be interested in it, what platforms is it available on?
I play on my
Well, it's
Steam
on.
Deck.
Yeah, I've loaded up on the computer, but I don't know how to play it on the computer. So I have got a little reference here of all of the controls, because I've been playing everything on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is the backlog slayer,
Yes.
and I have been playing everything on my Steam Deck.
Yes.
I need to get one of those. My gaming PC bit the dust about a year ago. R.I.P.
Yeah.
And at the time, like when I was wanting to build a new one, it was like at the height of NFT crypto BS. And so GPUs were insanely expensive, and I
Right.
just could not like the GPU like would have cost like rent on like an apartment, at that time. So
Yeah.
I jumped the fence and went to console gaming. I have an
Yeah.
Xbox, and the convenience of it has kind of won me over, even though I miss not being able to mod my little heart out.
So that's what the Steam Deck does, right? The Steam Deck gives you your entire Steam library, so all of the games that you've ever bought, and many of them run, even if they don't say that they're Steam verified, they're pretty close, and a lot of them are. And you can sort of jury rig a few quick mouse actions. Like I play some games just with the mouse and keyboard, but it's all on the Steam Deck. And other stuff, it's just controllers. And so it's like, it's your whole Steam library, every game you've ever bought on Steam, right there on your console. It plays Cyberpunk 2077. It plays, it plays like really fast requirement games.
Nice.
And then at the same time, you can put in all your mods. You can get in there and you can run Linux command console stuff if you need to. You can install all kinds of additions to it. You can run a browser in it. It's a computer. Like you could stick a monitor into it and a keyboard into it, and it's just your desktop computer.
That
But at the
sounds
same time, it plays
amazing.
games.
It is
I just want to say that we are not sponsored by Steam, but we could be.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you want to give me some more Steam credits? I guess I will be a favorite aunt to somebody.
Yeah. And so I've gone through like 10 games, I think, in the last year that I've really wanted to play that I just never, like, I'm so sick of sitting in front of my computer because that's what I do for my job. Like, I don't want to sit in front of my computer to play a game when I'm already sitting in front of my computer all day working on stuff.
Like that's kind of where I was at when my gaming rig was still working, because it was hooked up to the same monitors as all my CosmoQuest stuff. So it was just like, oh, I'm off work, let's flip over and play games. I'm still sitting in the same chair.
Yeah, I think your limbic system just recognizes the pain, and the distress that you're still in front of your work computer all this time.
Yeah. Whereas with like the console, I could just like relax on on my couch, and now y'all got me like interested in the Steam Deck.
It's that same feeling, but it's your whole Steam library. And so like the downside of the console is the games are stupid expensive. You can't participate in Steam sales. You can't get the Humble Bundle, right? All of that kind of stuff. So
and I miss that so much, and I miss being able, because I'm sure like everyone in the CosmoQuest community by now knows that I'm a huge Mass Effect dork.
Oh, I'm sure it runs Mass Effect.
Oh no, absolutely it does. But like, because I played the original trilogy like on my gaming rig, and I have since played the Legendary Edition on console, and I miss being able to like. I miss modding. Miss my mods.
It's the Legendary Edition is on my Steam Deck, and I've been playing it recently.
It's so good. It's so good.
Although it is weird to me because I was so excited. Like, Mass Effect is probably my favorite game. I was so excited to play it again and re-experience it. And I'm like, oh, I have to make this decision now about who to save and who dies. Oh, right. Like, I could fine tune what I did last time, but actually it's too much of it is I'm remembering too much of it, and I'm not having the same kind of sense of wonder and excitement that I did the first time around, which is too bad for me.
Yeah,
I was so excited about it.
Because I've played it through like several times now, and it's kind of like going back and like revisiting like my favorite book. There's not that like excitement of like not knowing what's around the corner anymore, but it's still like there's something like just very comforting about the familiarity, especially because the characters are so great.
Yeah. Now, we haven't tried Kerbal Space Program on it yet.
I don't think it'll run very good on the Steam Deck.
Let me see what the internet has to say.
Yeah.
I haven't tried Astroneer on the Steam Deck either.
Eric is our resident Kerbal.
I have tried Astroneer on the Steam Deck. There are too many controls.
Oh.
That you need to use a keyboard for.
Oh, people are saying it works well. People are saying it works great. I mean, the issue is just.
I mean, I plug my Steam Deck into a fancy. I found a keyboard that has a whole bunch of USB ports and like HDMI and stuff to turn my Steam Deck into a computer before I got a real computer, and that was a pretty good experience.
So the instinct that you have when you play with the Steam Deck, clearly this is turning into the Steam Deck episode. But the instinct that you have with the instinct that you have when you have the Steam Deck is that the controls, you have to relearn the controls, and that's the part that's tricky. Like playing No Man's Sky, for example, it's a totally different control system than what it is. It's a console control system, but it is not keyboard and mouse. And a lot of these games, like I play RimWorld on it, and it is a mouse game, so you're having to use a trigger and the mouse on it to work with it. but you do have to spend a while remapping your brain. But your brain gets to this happy place where it's like, oh no, I like this a lot. Now I don't want to play with a computer anymore. This is the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of game control, because I go back and forth between Xbox and my Switch. And yeah, that has led to some very hilarious mistakes in video games. Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, this is the button I press for everything, and no, it's not.
This is the button that I press to like shoot something, and then actually it's the button to like jump, and then there I go off a cliff.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the keyboard buttons I've used for a lot of different games. Like I try to throw a flare when I'm in a dirt cave in Minecraft and end up dropping my pickaxe into a pool of lava.
Right.
Because
and so
flare in Deep Rock Galactic is drop stuff in Minecraft.
See, I'm
and
just, like,
so are you
adding
playing
these
Deep Rock
games.
Galactic on the deck?
Yeah.
How
It's
do you
a
like
pretty
it?
good experience.
Yeah.
I had to make my own control config because at the time there wasn't a very good default control config, but it runs great.
Huh.
The only actual problem is some of the UI elements are pretty small.
So
I got a pair of glasses because
Really?
I'm old. Yeah, but also to just only on the Steam Deck. So it's like they're reading glasses that I use when I'm on the Steam Deck to be able to read all the little text if I need to.
Very cool.
But
Yeah.
one of the options that you can assign a button to in Steam, not the game, is a magnifier. So I made that part of the controls.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I was
awesome.
playing. I did Stellaris, and I went through a whole game of Stellaris on the Steam Deck, and it was just that the text was too small, and that was what was pissing me off. But apart from that, it ran great. I mean, Stellaris, Project Zomboid. The only game that I wouldn't go any further was Kenshi. I tried to get through Kenshi, and I just couldn't do it. The controls were just too, like, no one had spent any time thinking about this for the Steam Deck, and I wasn't having it. So, but yeah, people are talking about the Outer Wilds.
What is
Totally
the
played
Outer
that.
Wilds?
Yeah.
Well,
What is it?
Outer Wilds is this game where you're this little alien guy and you are trying to save your solar system from a supernova, and so you sort of repeat this loop, trying to sort of improve your run through it each time.
Oh,
and then
wait,
there's-
so you're
and there's
so you're
Outer
gonna
Worlds.
fail, but you're
Oh.
always gonna fail, but you're going to see how much longer you can go before you
Until
fail.
eventually you succeed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is it like
Okay.
is it kind of the whole like what is it roguelike setup where you're just repeating the same run?
No, it's more of an adventure game,
Okay.
not a roguelike.
We have people in the
Real fake
comments-
admin is saying do not spoil, please.
Okay,
Yes.
but the fact that
I have
that
also
you're stuck
had
into a
people
time loop.
people saying that I should go into it blind,
Yes.
and I
And then-
have it. I just never played it. I
I
should
have to
do
check
that.
that out. I've been in like a Mass Effect pit for the past like 4 years.
Wait, so will Outer Wilds play on the Steam Deck well? See, that's what we need to know.
Yes. Everything
Okay.
plays on the Steam Deck well.
You say everything. I haven't gotten GTA
Everything.
yet.
The
Yeah.
only games that don't
So I
work
can
on Linux
follow
at
all
this
the,
point
traffic laws.
are games with invasive kernel level anti cheats, and
Yeah.
not because they're
Oh.
bad, but because the people that make those don't want to support Linux.
They've got the Proton. I mean, with the Proton compatibility, any game that runs on Windows pretty much runs on Steam Deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then the other one is Outer Worlds. So if
Yeah,
you like
there's a
Wait,
website
Outer
called
Worlds and there's Outer Wilds.
right, and Outer Worlds
there's
is
a
made by the same
website-
people that did Fallout New Vegas.
Oh.
So the Obsidian group.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's really good. I finished that. That was a lot of fun.
there's a website called protondb.com that has
That rates the game
information
how
on how games run on both Linux in general on computers and on Steam Deck.
well. Okay.
And I think
And
it's that Proton
they
TV.
say Outer Wilds runs perfectly out of the box.
Yeah, and I think the Proton DB, they give you the settings. So I had to follow one of those guides to get it nicely configure No Man's Sky, because you don't know which, because it runs like a pig if you shove all of its stuff to the highest quality.
Yeah.
And so I had to sort of mix and match, and I found some guides where some, people said like this is your best configuration for everything. So in some cases you have to do that, but
yeah. Real fake admin's like, oh, I totally said Proton DB and not Steam DB. I was like, I didn't think that was what Steam DB did, but okay. All right, so if you want pseudo-space Fallout, so it's from Simplex is saying if you like pseudo-space Fallout, which I've been playing a lot of Fallout lately, you want to play the Outer Worlds. But if you want to do explorative adventure game,
Outer Wilds,
in a time loop and know nothing else, you want Outer Wilds.
Okay.
Yep.
And then somebody else said that Astroneer was just awful with the controllers instead of
I still need to. I've never played any of the Fallout games.
Yeah.
But my wife loves Fallout 4. I've watched her play it like twice now, and I need to actually sit down and play it myself.
But your wife didn't play New Vegas? Because New Vegas is vastly superior to Fallout 4.
See, the thing is, she got New Vegas and she started to play it and kind of lost interest. Or at least I think that was the one. There was another Fallout she played and didn't like as much as Fallout 4.
Fallout New Vegas is Fallout 3. Like there's Fallout 3 and
Okay.
Fallout New Vegas, and they came out relatively close to each other. And
Okay.
Fallout 3 was not great, while Fallout New Vegas was a masterpiece. And then Fallout 4 is fine, but it has a lot of issues. But I think Fallout, you talk to the Fallout community, and New Vegas is considered the masterpiece.
I will say that my wife and I are both a little like odd about our video game tastes. Like I seem to be one of like 5 people that actually liked Mass Effect Andromeda. So
I was wondering when I'd meet someone.
Yeah, well now you have. Yes. Here I am.
Did you finish it?
I haven't finished it. My wife has finished it. It takes me forever to finish video games. It can take me like a year to finish one video game.
That's what the Steam Deck's for.
So I'm still like halfway through it.
I need to finish BioShock.
Admittedly, like part of the appeal to me is I get to like romance a Lady Turian. So.
But I mean, I look at my Steam library and I sort of think about how much time I have left on this planet. And I realize that the two do not match.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. I stopped buying games.
I have 2. Yeah. Unless I
am,
really want a game, I don't buy them anymore.
I am twice cursed. I love to read books and I love to play video games, and there is just not enough time for any of it.
Yeah, my wife and I talk about that.
My life is nothing but side quests.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like my wife is like, how do you always keep so busy? I'm like, I could be completely entertained for the rest of every single second. Like if I could figure out ways to have a time machine so that I could get through more television shows, movies, hang out with people, go traveling, all just goes on and on and on. No shortage.
I'm always like, why am I so tired? And then I realize that like I'm working 4 jobs. I decided to do NaNoWriMo this year.
Oh no. You're here. Oh no.
And I've still been hitting my word count, so guess how much sleep I've gotten.
Oh no.
Yeah, and just and also like playing video games, reading books, watching tons of television, because God, my wife and I watch so much TV together. And it's just, I'm like, why am I tired? Oh, right, I'm doing like
all the things.
5 people's worth of stuff every day.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things.
So I'm trying to think. I wish I had an easier way to sort of see my recent history. But I would say, so do you play any strategy games? Have you guys played Stellaris?
No, I need to check that out.
I own it, and it's
Yeah.
installed because I have
There
a
you go.
2 terabyte boot drive.
It's on the list. Yeah.
StarCraft 2 counts as strategy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Does
last
City
space
Skylines
race.
count?
Isn't that like
Not a space though. I don't think it counts as a space game.
Sorry,
True.
I'm reading about Stellaris.
I didn't finish StarCraft 2.
Oh no, this would. Oh no, you'd never see me again if I played this.
Yeah, so Stellaris is
Now I'm
this like for the
curious.
same people that do all these strategy games like Europa Universalis and what's it? Crusader Kings. And so you play this interstellar civilization that is attempting to conquer as much of the galaxy. You meet other races, you get into fights.
Oh my.
Various events happen across the galaxy and you attempt to achieve your victory condition. So it's like, I mean, it's civilization, but in space.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I know what you're
Civ, but
talking
in
about.
space. That's dangerous.
But no, I'm looking at it like I just skimmed the Wikipedia article. I'm just like, yeah, you would never see me again.
Not Stellarium.
Yeah.
Stellarius.
Pamela would have to hire a new producer and editor because I would just I'd be gone.
Yeah. And it is good. So like
Pamela's
for me, a
making
game
crying
takes
face.
about 50 hours to complete. And you are, by the end of it, you are commanding gigantic stacks of battleships with all kinds of advanced technology, and all kinds of nutty end game events are happening where horrors from beyond the universe are showing up and attempting to conquer everybody's systems, and you're getting into all these alliances with other and that's like if you just don't play the game too carefully. But you can then you can just you hit your starbase and go maybe a bunch of ships, and it's like a bunch of ships start rolling off the line. But in fact, you can go and you can design every one of those ships, and you can go, well, the enemy is using neutron beams, so I'm going to use crystalline shields, which are better. So you can eke out an advantage against certain types of enemies and different kinds, depending on what you're going to require for your fights. And you can fine tune the economies on every single one of your world. You can build, this is our industrial planet and that's our science planet. And then you can hire different leaders, and the leaders have different abilities. And then you can sort of stack these advantages together. And so, for me, a 50-hour game is just like, whatever. Yes. Okay. I don't care. Right. But
just hearing you get all excited about it is making me want to play it. And
it's a great game. Yeah.
The fact that it's like Civ in space, my wife would give me so much shit because Civ is her favorite game, and I've never really gotten into it. But of course, if you dress it up with like pew pew space stuff, I am there.
Yeah. Just do not play Civ Beyond Earth. You will be disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, this is a very classic genre, the 4X, the explore. I forget what the X's are. Explore, expand. I forget. But anyway, where you start off with one world and you're colonizing other places, and you're building up a trade network, and you're building up your fleet, and you're meeting these other aliens.
Expand, exploit, exterminate.
There you go. Yeah, there's the 4X's.
I mean,
exterminate. Yeah. It's inevitable.
So we're dying.
I've put it on my wish. I've put Stellaris on my wish list.
I'm thinking about how I play Civ, and exterminate is almost inevitable with me.
I'm just laughing at real fake admins comment. Civ Beyond Earth is ... a thing.
It is a thing, and we don't talk about it.
Just like Kerbal Space Program 2 is a thing,
and we don't talk about it.
Okay.
We don't talk about Kerbal Space Program 2.
Do you guys play? Who plays RimWorld?
What's RimWorld? I'm losing all my nerd cred. There's just
oh my god.
There's so many space
this is the
games
Frasier
and not
teaches
enough
us
time.
about video.
So what's RimWorld?
So RimWorld is have you ever played Dwarf Fortress?
No.
Have you ever heard of Dwarf Fortress? No. So back in the early 2000s, there was a game came out called Dwarf Fortress, and it was this sort of complicated sim where you managed a tribe of dwarves who were building in the side of a hillside, and they were trying to, and it was you sort of controlled it block by block, and you had all of these different events that were happening, and it was a very complicated game. And it was one of the forefathers of Minecraft. And so, like, when they made Minecraft, Notch was looking at Dwarf Fortress and said, how could I make this game but comprehensible? And that was Minecraft.
Wait, is that the one where it's like everything's represented by pixels?
It
like
was, yeah. It was represented by ASCII characters. Yeah.
I think I was shown it once and was like, this is confusing. And
yeah, and so there are these incredible. So it goes and builds the entire world from the beginning till the beginning of your game. Figures out every god, all of the historical events, runs the whole world for thousands of years, and then simply to every biome, every part of the thing, populates it with all of the creatures, all of the treasure, everything in the whole. And then you get this one little group of dwarves and this one little corner. And in the beginning, everything was ASCII, and now everything is. They made a graphical version that's out on Steam, and so it doesn't look as terrible. But it was incomprehensible. Like, you would hear people
and the
playing
ASCII
this game.
version is free.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah, you hear people talking about this game, and they'd be like after a while, your brain starts to meld with the game, and you actually do see caverns and dwarves and not just little @ symbols and and a red G that is a goblin. It actually is a tribe of goblins coming at your dwarves. But anyway, and so RimWorld is another attempt to make this game comprehensible. And so the gist is that you run a colony, a crashed landed colony on some planet, and you have a whole bunch of characters, and you go through all of the events that happen to this group. And people get sick, and people fall in love, and they fall out of love, and you get attacked by raiders, and people are trying to build things, and people have mental breakdowns, and they gain psionic powers, and they can have babies and mix their genes, and they have various ideologies where you are like trying to your colony is a bunch of blind cannibals, and anybody who shows up is harvested for. It gets pretty awful if you want.
Just the fact that it covers like who has a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's very specific.
You can look at any character in your colony and see how their mood is, and you can see all the things that are making them happy and all the things that are making them sad, and then you have to get the things. You have to stop the things from making them sad, because if they don't, then they will have a mental breakdown, and they will like destroy their building. They will pull corpses out of graves and put them on the table. They will attempt to kill prisoners.
They go crazy. Than just making people in Roller Coaster Tycoon mad.
That's like
right.
That's such a fascinating mechanic, though, and I love. I don't know. I love the idea of like a game like that actually taking the time to like prioritize morale and prioritize people's like mental well-being,
right?
And that you actually have to like consider that aspect of it to like but why? Like, I guess play the game like well.
Yeah, you'll see like if they don't eat at a table, they get a -3 to their morale.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, you look at, they're like, why is this person on the edge? And you look through and you're like, new colony, really happy, love my wife, enjoy my job, didn't eat at a table because he was out on a hunt and he had to eat in the middle of the forest, and now he's mad about it. And he can have a psychotic break from not eating at a table.
I feel like that's a good lesson in microaggressions.
That is a thing that can happen as somebody who's had to eat in the middle of the woods without a table. Yeah, I wasn't exactly thrilled about it.
Yeah. So so really it's a storytelling game. So, and that's the way it's described. And so this colony is attempting to survive in this hostile place with worse and worse events happening to them, like a spaceship will land that's putting out psionic waves that drives everybody crazy, or raiders will attack, and try to steal somebody. And so you have a situation where the raiders attack, they stole one of your people. Now you don't have them in the colony anymore. But then a few weeks later, you get a call. They've been able to get to an intercom, and they send you a rescue message. And then you have to put together a crew and go get them and retrieve them and kill all the raiders while you're at it. And then the raiders send a party to make peace with you. Like, it's very complicated, but it's well done that you can actually like play the game. And it is a game that I put the most time in. Like, I have thousands of hours in RimWorld. It's such a good game. And every game it's like, so if you want a game that will utterly destroy your time, that's the game.
Okay, so I know what not to buy. Thank you.
Do not play RimWorld if you have any, anything left you want to do with your life. Yeah.
Another space game we have it. Well, people would argue about whether or not it's a space game. It does take place on an alien planet. The Subnautica games.
Mm.
Because you do crash land on an alien planet. I don't think it's spoilery to talk about the first one anymore. You find out that everything's been infected, and you eventually figure out a cure for it. But you're just alone on this, alien planet, and you crash into the ocean. So you spend most of the first Subnautica game, underwater, dealing with these pretty alien environments, which, the ocean's pretty alien here on Earth anyways. But the fact that you just, you can see the rescue ship coming,
Mm-hmm.
and then the planetary defense system kicks on.
Oh no!
And shoots the rescue ship out of the sky.
Oh no!
And that's actually how you ended up on the planet too. Is you got too close because your ship was trying to do a rescue or an investigation for another ship that had gone down for the same reason. This planet is set on quarantine, so things can come out, but you can't leave until you cure this disease. So
the thing that's really well done with Subnautica is the progression of things. Like every time that you need to move the story along, you have to be pushed out of your comfort zone. You have to dive deeper. You have to build something. You have to depend on a piece of technology. And so it feels, when you first start the game, it feels like, oh, is this just another sandbox? But it's not. It's a story.
Yes.
And you are learning just enough to get yourself to the next part of the story. And each part feels very terrifying to move to the next step, where you have to go deep, and you realize that there are monsters there.
Yeah,
that,
I don't
for
play
you to
that
be able
one after dark when I'm home alone.
Yeah. And so my big complaint with sandbox games is they just get boring. I don't want to, after a while I've done all the things and there's nothing else to do. And I don't really enjoy coming up with my own reasons to do things. But Subnautica is terrific at that, at both having a storyline that feels like a sandbox, it's crafty game, but in fact there's way more going on with it than first meets the eye.
Let's not talk about how many hours I've logged in Animal Crossing, just dicking around.
I've somehow managed to play the first Kerbal Space Program for 12 years.
Wow.
Does it tell you how many hours have you got in it?
I bought the game before it was on Steam, so I don't know.
Oh, well, that's probably best.
That's
Probably
that's good.
best.
Best,
I
yes.
really feel like the whole logging hours thing should be that you should be able to opt out of it, because none of us need to know
it
that.
is shaming you for sure.
None of us need to have that information. Okay, I think we've got about 5 minutes or 6 minutes.
All right,
left,
so Broken Symmetry says there were cute penguin-like critters in that. The penguins are in Subnautica 2, which is newer, and
I haven't played that yet.
Space penguins?
I'm not going to spoil it.
Or alien penguins?
Yeah, alien penguins. They are super cute, and you can accidentally suck the babies into your Hold on, let me finish. You have a part of your little submarine that can just suck fish into it and put them in aquariums, and you can sometimes suck up the babies and get them trapped.
Oh, okay. Because I was that's not as.
Is that
that's better than where I thought that was going?
Yeah,
so.
I bet it is. And you can build a robot baby penguin too.
I appreciate how you built up to that.
It's like, hold on.
So before we wrap up, let's each give our top 3 then.
Oh,
none of the ones you have listed, and your producer is now terrified of video games. You may need to repeat that. Please.
Pamela says that you have made her terrified of video games.
How? Why?
I think it was the penguin in the suck comment.
Yeah. Yep. That was it. Yep.
So I would say, for me, depending if you like the same kinds of games that I do, I would say RimWorld is the game that if you haven't played it, you absolutely should. Like, if you like Minecraft, there's so much overlap in Minecraft and RimWorld, but there's more of a, like, the problem I have with Minecraft is you're building things, but there's no game there.
It's just building.
RimWorld,
It's your game.
RimWorld, you're still building things, but they're to stop your team from dying, right?
And to keep them mentally healthy.
And to keep them mentally healthy, yeah, to build them palaces because they love living in a place. You know, they get a plus because they're, you know, we have a really nice dining room, and they're happy about it.
I mean, who
think
doesn't
about it
want
all
a
the
nice
time.
dining room?
Exactly. Really nice recreation room. Yeah. So I would say RimWorld. I would say Mass Effect. Like, if you haven't played Mass Effect, it is absolutely mind blowing. The whole series, especially
Yes.
episode 2.
Yes.
And then I'd say No Man's Sky.
I am like such a weirdo among Mass Effect fans because the third game's my favorite. Mass Effect 3 is my favorite of the original
so
trilogy.
what are your other two then?
I haven't played a lot of like spacey video games. Like,
So you would just list all the Mass Effect
yes,
ones as
all
your
of them.
That's
All of
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3, and
Boom.
Andromeda. I stand by this.
Okay.
I will spare y'all my thesis in defense of Mass Effect Andromeda. And some of the people tuning into this have already heard it multiple times. So,
Okay. I would say, in no particular order, Subnautica, Astroneer, and No Man's Sky. And I used to say that Astroneer was the poor man's version of No Man's Sky, and no. That is, now that I've played both, no. They're very different. So, what about you, Eric?
Kerbal Space Program 1,
Of course.
Deep Rock Galactic, Portal 1.
Portal 1 over Portal 2?
we didn't talk about the Portal games. Okay, so if we're including the Portal games,
I mean, not really space.
yeah, I know.
I mean, I guess
but
in Portal
it-
2,
Kinda,
the end, you go to space.
I mean,
kinda.
yeah, but
I'd
in
like
one
to
of
make-
the cut endings of Portal 1, it's revealed you're in space.
I love
But
those
you
games.
Instead of
the
Michigan.
moon dust
Love those.
to make any of the portal stuff work.
Yeah.
I didn't like the humor in Portal 2.
Oh man, I love it.
Oh, I loved it.
It's
I just
so
thought it was-
funny. That's what got me into Portal was like it's just whenever that game first came out, like one of my roommates was playing it.
Yeah.
And just like hearing it whenever I would like walk through the living room. And that like I was like, I have to play this game.
Yeah.
'Cause
And
it
the
was
voice
just
acting,
cracking me
Stephen
up.
Merchant,
Oh,
J.K.
yeah.
Simmons. It's so good.
Yeah.
It was a good game. It was like a sequel to a game that didn't need a sequel, and an ending, and you got a prequel in one game.
Okay.
I love all of our like differing.
Feelings.
I
on
just like Portal 1 better. I like the
No, that's
atmosphere. The atmosphere of the game
I
better.
respect it. I respect your opinions as someone who has very weird Mass Effect opinions.
A game that has a very similar feel to that is Control. I don't know if you played that, Eric. It feels
No.
very similar to Portal. Weird sort of telekinesis abilities that you use in really creative ways to play the game. And it has a very similar feel in terms of just the architecture of it as well, that you're going down this weird postmodern brutalist building, fighting
Everything?
arcane monsters and possessed people with telekinesis powers, where you're, tearing bits and pieces of the furniture off and throwing them at people. So you get very creative about how to overcome objectives. Yeah, Control's a really neat game. Only played it on the Steam Deck. So
Had to slide Steam Deck in
It's
there.
just-
Again, we are not sponsored by Steam, but we could be.
but we could be. Yeah.
I really like my Steam Deck because it was, like you mentioned at the beginning, it's not your computer. So I actually decreased the amount of time I spent gaming when all I had was the Steam Deck, which was probably good.
I had the opposite. I played way more. Too much.
All right. right.
Okay, I think
So, I
that
think it's time to switch over.
yes, it's time to switch over to fundraising.
Minecraft.
To Minecraft. Okay, we're not. Okay, we're
Oh.
skipping the begging
We're
this
just
time around.
whoa. We're just. I'm just here.
I don't know. I'm pushing things off the table with my mind.
Yes.
That's where we're at. Yeah. Okay, so we are switching over to Minecraft in 1.
Hello, are we live from the lander? I'm in the
Yes.
top
Hello.
I am in the top of the lander on Mars. This is where we arrived on our Mars build. We have some cushions for people to sit into, various levers and controls. Things are still active, but most of the rocket is empty. Most of the rocket is empty because to fly all the way to Mars is going to take a lot of fuel. So typically a rocket like this would be largely empty despite the large size. Most of it is just fuel storage. It's not a lot of machinery, that's all up at the top, and then the engines at the bottom. Most of it is just containing the fuel to make the trip and the landing possible. You see, we picked a spot here that was relatively flat. We don't want to land on rocks, but we've got these nice extendable feet that could presumably adjust to different heights so that if we did land on a slightly uneven surface, we wouldn't immediately topple over. Landing on an alien planet is hard. We did have help from a parachute, bits of which are still being gathered up here, probably going to be recycled for some other use, and some of the materials are being pulled out of the rocket to be taken to storage. We have started with some nice construction equipment here to build some buildings and have a vehicle over here to help move materials into position, move materials around. Once you're on an alien planet, don't have any roads. You're going to need a vehicle of some kind that can make its way over the surface. This one seems to have 6 wheels rather than 4, probably so it can manage those rocks and uneven terrain. We take a look inside. This was the first building that got built on our Mars colony here. With the funding that was sent along, we brought some plants, it looks like, over here. Various different colors and types. Some of them are black. I wonder whether they were brought here as plants that were green and they turned black because they're not doing so well, or maybe these are some of those rare black plants on Earth. There are plants that have other pigments than chlorophyll because some plants live in the understory of a forest and need different pigments to absorb light in the understory of a forest. Some of these might be algae. I see some purplish looking substances here. Some of these might be red algae. Red algae are red because instead of chlorophyll, they have pigments that allow them to absorb different wavelengths of light so they can survive in a different environment than plants can. When we're setting up a colony on Mars, we have to think about what kind of light our plants and food sources are going to get and what kinds of organisms would be best suited to those kinds of environments. These over here, these don't look like they survived the trip, or maybe Mars was too harsh for them. Either way, we've got a lot of research going on in here. Got some artificial lighting, very strong lighting, probably in multiple wavelengths to simulate Earth light, or as near as we can manage, to try to get some of these plants to grow a bit. Let's take a look further on. Now, on the screen or in chat, there should be a link if you'd like to participate in our build and come in, maybe just look around at what I'm taking a look at here, see it up close and in person, or maybe you want to help build our Mars colony. You can do that as part of our Marscraft build here. We have a form that you can fill out, provide us with your Minecraft name, some information, and we can give you access so you can come and visit and build on Mars. I'm going to head into the airlock here of our main dome. Dust is everywhere, it seems. We've got a double airlock so that when we come in, doesn't change the pressure on the inside of the building. So this is an airlock from both sides. And inside we have some storage spaces, some storage built into the walls. We have an area here where people can rest. Don't have a lot of space. Space is a premium when you're building buildings for the first time on an alien planet. You have to conserve those resources. So a lot of this space is probably dual function. There are tables here that might be used for eating at one point. They might be used for sorting things at another point. They might be used for preparing materials. This over here looks like a mineral saw, and there are some mineral samples from the surface, some that look a bit like metal, some that look like crystals, some that look like ores that might be sliced open on this mineral saw in order to research the geology of Mars. Let's take a look outside now. Of course, getting to Mars will take a lot of money. That's why corporations are trying to get research done so they can be the ones to get the money to send the missions to Mars. What we're doing here in building this Mars colony is part of our weekend fundraiser to raise money of our own. CosmoQuest does science outreach and science education, and doing that takes money just like the science itself does. If you enjoy hearing about science, learning about what science is doing, what science is learning, and how science is advancing, particularly in the space sciences, then you might want to help us do that. Check out our podcasts, share the links with other people, and perhaps we can get money enough raised this weekend to help us stay open. We're hoping this weekend to get a minimum of $10,000 to fund everything that's currently active. But we're also hoping as a stretch goal to reach $30,000. If we get $30,000, we'll be able to bring back some of the programs that had to be cut. Times are tough, and even in the sciences, we've had to make some tough choices about what we spend our money on. Money doesn't grow on Mars any more than it grows on Earth. Doubly so when you're trying to do science outreach. Looks like over here we have a mine going on. Mining in progress. Let's carefully come in here so that we don't fall. Good thing is that the Martian gravity is much lower than Earth gravity, so we can hop down this incline a lot easier without hurting ourselves. This looks like an open pit where we found some gold, and oh, down there that looks like it might be some coal. Let me see if that is. Let's get out our spyglass and take a closer look. Yeah, that looks like coal. If there's coal on Mars, that would be evidence of life. Coal is made up of the compressed remains of plants. Plants that were buried, and then the rocks that contained them were crushed, and the plant matter was mostly carbon to begin with. Once it's all compressed, it turns into coal, and since it's carbon, it burns nicely. Now, the way we're going to find that coal and other potential minerals that might be on Mars are with rovers, like this one here. This one also has 6 wheels. It's raised up off the ground so that as each wheel rolls over an uneven surface, it can continue to roll. It's got some solar panels up here, just like Opportunity had on Mars, one of our Explorer robots up there. Little robot camera up here, taking careful look at what's around it. Lights to help light the way, because sometimes it gets pretty dim on Mars. And then an extendable arm here with a sampler so that it can scoop up rocks or minerals to load onto the back of the rover and take them back to wherever they're going to be analyzed. Now, if we're going to start to send people to Mars, we also need to feed them. So over here we have a greenhouse that's been set up to raise some food. This looks like it might be an experimental greenhouse because it's not going to feed a lot of people. We've got maybe 6 potato plants over here, a couple of beets, little patches of wheat. What we'll do is we'll take plants up to Mars, try and see what works, and whichever ones work the best, we'll grow more of those. If ones that don't work, well, we might try something different. We might try a different breed. There are certain plants that have been bred over thousands of years to be successful on Earth, and they are our crop plants. But we practically have to start over when we go to Mars because the gravity is different. Plants that grow well on Earth might not grow well on Mars. So we've got a library here of research books